Okay, well, let's welcome Alex Krause here to the summit. Thanks, Alice. Thanks, Alex, for being here.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I'm so glad you're putting this together. I think this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we're one take, so we'll live with that one. So, no, I'm happy you're here, and you and I connected earlier this year, and I think you're doing a lot of great things, helping real estate agents and social media with your coaching. So I'm really happy you're a part of the summit.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm excited to share these tips because I get questions a lot and some of them are repeat questions. And so I kind of put that in together with what agents need to be doing, especially come the new year. So yeah, I'm excited to share these with you.
Well, cool. So what we'll do is you go through your 3 tips. We're just going to have a, informal chit chat. At the end, I do have a bonus question, and
Perfect.
it is, very easy. So I get a simple question at the end. So I'll let you roll with it. Go with tip number 1.
Awesome. So the very first tip that I have is something that agents don't typically do. Anytime I bring it up in a class or a coaching session that I put together, agents kind of, a light bulb kind of goes off and they think, oh, well, let me get my pen and paper out. And so I have a blueprint for you that I kind of want to walk through and kind of tell you why I suggest to go through these steps before putting together any kind of marketing plan. Now this is for agents, brokers, title companies, anybody in the real estate space, anybody who's looking to market anything. This is something that most companies do, but agents, for some reason, kind of skip the most important step, and that's this one. So typically, I walk them through a discovery. I guess we'll call it the discovery phase. And there's a guy, I don't know if you've heard of him, but his name is Simon Sinek. You probably have.
Yeah.
He's all about the why, the question why. And I think that's so important when putting together your marketing plan. So there's 3 questions that will help you kind of discover your why and what you're trying to do to grow your business. The first one is defining your target client. So not just, oh, I want more sellers or I want more buyers. It's more what kind of seller, what price point, are they move up or move down or 55 plus, are they first-time home buyers? Who is your target client? And defining that doesn't necessarily mean that you're leaving out the rest of the people who don't fit into that category. It's just you're honing in on what you want your business to become and what you want your business to be consumed with in your goals. And so that's something really important. The second question is going to be your target areas. And some agents will go by county. They'll do like 6 counties, which is pretty ambitious. Some people do it by city. Some people do it by neighborhood. So if you can pick 5 target areas, that would be the second phase to this first part. The third one is defining your goal. Before you put a post out on Facebook, before you write a blog, before you put together a new website, you have to know what your goal is at the end of the day. So if you're going to know if it's something successful or not, you have to know what you want out of it. So at the end of the day, do you want 100 leads in your inbox every day? Then that's the goal, and that's how you're going to set up your marketing plan. If you want more referrals or more listings in a neighborhood, then that's going to be what you write down. So it seems pretty simple to write down target client, target area, and your overall goal. But so many agents don't define it, and at the end of the day, they'll ask me, hey, Alex, I just ran this, actually just had this question in a class the other day. I just ran this ad, and I don't know if it worked. I spent $1,000 on this ad campaign, and nothing came of it. I said, well, what was your goal? He's like, I don't really know. I was just testing it out. Well, $1,000 is kind of a lot of money to throw around and test out if you don't know what you want from it and you don't know if it worked or not. And then I started asking more questions, which we'll get into in the second part of this, my second tip. And he had no idea as to what it was going to do, even if he had a goal in mind anyway. So before you waste your money, before you spend money on any marketing tools, do those 3 things first. Fill out that blueprint. And that's going to help you determine what tools you need, what kind of marketing you're going to do, and how you're going to use like Facebook and Twitter and anything else that you're using in your marketing plan.
Is this the one here?
Yeah, and so this is from our Facebook workshop. And this is a worksheet that you can fill out And it doesn't necessarily have to be just for Facebook. You can use this for your print marketing, for your website, for planning any marketing in your real estate space. Yeah. So defining what your goal is with whatever it is you're using and choosing to market. The second phase is choosing your target client and getting super specific with it. And then the third phase is what is your target market interested in? Now, this is an interesting question because some people don't know what they're actually interested in. They just think real estate all the way. So when you're coming up with content, I always go by the 80-20 rule. 80% of it should be non-real estate related. It should be hyper-local. It should be what they want to know. Nothing to do with real estate. And the 20% is real estate. So then you can throw out your listings. You can throw out what's your home worth ads, those types of things. But everything else should be hyper-local, money-saving, DIY tips, those types of things. Yeah, and then you'll name your 5 target cities or neighborhoods or your markets. And then number 5 is, it's just 5 questions. So it's pretty easy. It's pretty simple. But this would be where you're going to write down all the local hotspots, those hyper-local things that people in and around where you're working are going to relate to or want to know about, or people who are relocating should know about. So.
Okay, and then what we're going to do with this one, we'll have this PDF. It'll be on the speaker page here for Alex, and that way you could download it, you can print it, or look at it again while we're doing this.
Yep.
Okay, well that's really good.
Yeah,
so
it's simple.
Yeah, very simple. I think that's a good guideline because I agree a lot of times as realtors, we just kind of fly by the seat of our pants and we just say, hey, I'm going to run this ad, I'm going to spend this amount of money, and then you really don't think it through. Mm-hmm. And what happens is we end up spending too much money without realizing it and not even defining what our goals are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of times I've learned this through being an agent and also through coaching other agents with their marketing plan. Last year I had a case study where an agent we were working with, they're a pretty big team and they were pretty successful, but they just dropped in their numbers, their average sales price, everything kind of dropped. So then we kind of went back to the basics. I did this exact same worksheet with them, and then we pieced together their marketing plan based on what their goal was, how we could reach their target market, their target areas, like would we farm, would we do print marketing, would we just farm via Facebook ads, or how do we do that? So this will help you kind of plan that out, and I'll tell you that team following that same guideline and piecing it together that way, they actually met their goals. I want to say they crushed their goals by the beginning of October. Now everything for the rest of the year is just over and beyond what they wanted. So that's awesome. If they can do it, and it's so easy, I mean, once you put it together and you know, have like kind of a path, it's so much easier to do your marketing plan. Okay, well that's good. So that's your tip number 1. Number 1. Kind of drug out, but very important. That's good. So go ahead with tip number 2 then. So tip number 2, let's go ahead and pull up that slide. Because this is kind of the second phase. Like once you know who your target audience is, once you know how you're going to market to them, whether it be, so let me give you an example. Let me just say your target client is to get more listings in a specific neighborhood. Let's go with that because everybody wants more listings, right? So let's go with you want more listings in a neighborhood. So ways you could do that is you could do some offline marketing, which we'll talk about in a second, or you can do some online marketing. And Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Twitter ads, YouTube ads, all ads on social are so popular right now because they're so effective and affordable. So if you have ever played with ads, like maybe with Google, you kind of have to spend a lot of money to get a little bit of a return. But with Facebook, you can get super strategic and you don't have to spend a ton to get what you need. You just have to make sure you have your funnel ready. So it's kind of what I have a snapshot or an example of how your funnel might look. You might have more pieces in your funnel, but it's important to have some sort of ad funnel. So that example I gave you in the beginning with the guy in one of my classes who said that he spent $1,000 on an ad, and didn't have anything really come of it, it's because I asked him, I said, okay, well, when they click on the ad, where do they go? Like, what happens? And he said, I don't know, I think they went to my website. I'm thinking, oh no, you just spent so much money and you don't even know where you took them to or how to capture them. So that's kind of what this is. So the first phase of any ad, and this could be a retargeting ad, it could be a Facebook ad, like I said, it could be any type of online ad. You want to have some sort of item of value, that thing that's going to capture them and get them to click. So something that's noticeable, something that people actually want to see. So that's the first part. And
so let's give a couple examples there. And the other thing I want to kind of clarify here first is the fact that in Facebook, when you do an ad, what Alex is talking about, she's not talking about boosting a post. She's talking about using the Ads Manager, which is a tab on the left side of your home page, and you can create a Facebook ad. You could target it to people based on geography, based on demographic information. So that is what she's talking about here, because I know when I started advertising on Facebook, I was only boosting posts, and that was not effective. And so I just want to kind of clarify that here.
Yeah, so you can boost a post, and they can be they can do things for, like, we've boosted listings, we've boosted some posts, but you can get really strategic, like you said. So let's go back to my example of you're trying to get more listings in a neighborhood. Let's stick with that. I think that might help kind of walk through this. So maybe that item of value is whatever you're farming to them. Maybe it's stats, or a what's your home worth ad, or whatever that item is for that neighborhood or that target client. That's easier when you know what that is to come up with that item of value and run a specific ad for them. So when you run that ad, you come up with the item of value, you run the ad, you can actually do it by zip code, you can do it by city. I mean, you can really target people in that specific area. So you can get even more creepy. I don't know how else to describe it other than creepy, because you can actually see who is most likely to sell according to Facebook, and who has lived in their home for more than 5+ years, 3+ years. You can actually get even more creepy than that and say, let's say you have a house to sell, and it's a destination type of home where it's on a lake. It's people who own a boat might buy it. You can actually say people interested in outdoor sports. Like, you can get really creepy with it, and you need to know who your audience is to know like what to do. And it's so easy. Once I show people in a class how to do an ad like that, their jaw drops, because it's really not hard. It's just experimenting and finding what works and getting rid of what doesn't, and playing with your budget a little bit too. So if you're trying to get listings in a neighborhood, come up with that item of value and play with it. I would say maybe play with 2 different items of value and see what gets the most people to click on the ad. Because that's the first thing, is once you get it in front of them, you have to get them to click on it. So once they click on it, then they go to phase 2, which is your landing page. They click on the ad, they go to the landing page, and then what happens? And so this is another area where agents kind of overlook it. They don't have a landing page, or they just send them to a page on their website that's not really converting anything. So there's kind of 3 steps here to follow through. The first hurdle, like I said, is to get them to click on your ad. The second is to actually get them to fill out and ask and get whatever it is you're offering them. So make it super simple, to the point. Make sure it's super mobile friendly. So if they're on their smartphone, they can say, oh, I want to download whatever it is that they're offering me. Click, enter my email, done. And in 2 seconds, they can have what you're offering them, but they can also, you have a new lead coming from this ad campaign too. So a lot of agents just put out an ad and they don't follow through with a landing page or some sort of retargeting ad. And some agents do have the landing page, but it doesn't convert, and there's nothing that they do to change it. So there's tools out there that can create landing pages for you. I know we talked about lead pages the other day, but there's a ton out there for real estate pros too, where you just turn it on and you have a landing page. So you don't have to have, you don't have to learn how to code. You don't have to know how to build a website. You just have to have something that converts your leads once you get them. So then the last phase is, okay, they clicked on your ad, they came to your landing page, whether they filled it out or not, they converted to a lead or not, you can retarget them. And I wanted to make sure I mentioned retargeting because a lot of agents don't use this quite yet either. So retargeting essentially is when somebody's on your website or your landing page and then they go away from your website, you can retarget them to come back to your website. So maybe that first item of value was nothing that they really wanted and they're back on Facebook or they're back Googling something. You can actually run ads on Google and on Facebook to retarget people who've visited your website before, which is awesome because you already are getting retargeted, especially around the holidays or around those key shopping times where you're shopping. I did this. I'm buying all my Christmas presents now for my family since I'm due in like 3 weeks. So I bought all of my stuff online. So as I'm on Amazon or wherever, I'll go back to Facebook or on another website and I see that ad for that thing I just bought or maybe that I didn't buy. And that's just that company retargeting me like, hey, don't forget you wanted to buy this thing, or hey, don't forget you were on my website, come back and I have this thing for you to look at. So retargeting is something that's not quite brand new, but it's new in the sense that not a lot of agents use it in that strategic way where sure you can get traffic to your website, but then let's target them to keep bringing them back or even try to convert them in different ways. So I know this might be a little overwhelming, but I'm going to leave this slide up on the page too so that they can kind of come back to it. And I might add some notes to it too so there's some more helpful examples and tips to kind of use this pattern.
Yeah, no, I think this is good. I mean, I know I've been kind of learning this whole process the last, year or so. I think the one thing to kind of clarify that when people ask for the item of value and they're going to go to your landing page, the one step there is that you're going to get their email, you're going to get their contact information, and then that's one of the things I'm sure you talk about is that then you're going to be building an email list.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and email is not dead. Email definitely can help kind of keep you in front of your database. And when you build your email list in real estate, it's for people who aren't maybe ready to buy right now. They might be willing to buy or sell in the future. But if you can keep them and grow that list, you could definitely do it through this. This also can be something that converts leads that are ready now. It just depends on what your item is and what your strategy is there and what your goal is. So if you're trying to get buyers who are looking to buy right now, then that should be your item of value. If you're looking for sellers to build your seller list in a certain area, just try to capture as many emails as you can, absolutely. You can just kind of build that email list through this too. There's a lot you can do, but just making sure you back up your ads with some sort of follow-up and follow through is so important.
Yeah, and then I think that's good. And then the other thing, like you mentioned, but just to kind of give a reference, if you run a Facebook ad, like what Alex is talking about, you don't have to spend more than $2, $3, $5 a day just to kind of get it off the ground.
Mm-hmm. And I would not recommend to spend a ton. I've seen agents waste money on an ad because they think they have to spend a lot on the first go around when really it's more of, okay, let's spend X amount for a week or two, see what comes around, tweak the ad a little bit, and then throw more money at it. So you don't have to run $500 ads right away unless you have somebody who knows that funnel is good to go. You still want to play with it because even I can run the same ad for 3 different agents and get different results for all of them. It really just depends on the agent, the item, everything. So there's really no, which kind of stinks, plug and play system for this stuff. I wish there was.
Yeah, it just takes a little bit of practice and kind of playing with it and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So well, that was good. So that was your tip number 2, and then we'll have that on the speaker page for Alex, and we'll have a PDF so you can download and you can reference it.
Perfect. Yeah, so the third tip is also super important. It's marrying your offline with your online marketing. And I'm going to keep rolling with that seller, trying to get more listings in a neighborhood example. So let's say you are trying to do just that and you're running ads on Facebook or online somewhere. You're trying to do your online digital marketing, focusing on that. The other part of this is that print marketing is not dead. If you do it right, it can actually really help your brand awareness, your conversion, and increase phone calls to you. And that's what kind of is hard about online marketing and about your brand awareness is that you might get a phone call or that lead might come through your Facebook page or that lead might just come to your open house because they wanted to meet you. It's hard to determine where your leads come from when you're using all of these avenues because they can come to you in so many different ways. So if you can hit them in their inbox via email and in their mailbox when you're farming, or if online through strategic Facebook ads or just strategic ads on any platform, then that's actually going to help you in your conversion rate altogether. If you think about it, agents know who the other big agents are in certain areas. And I bet you the big agents are doing just that. They're trying to be everywhere all the time. And so don't just put all your eggs into one basket on Facebook, or don't put all your eggs into, I'm going to get 100 leads a day from this source or something like that. I think having a well-rounded connected marketing strategy is something that's so important too. So if you look at your marketing, kind of look at it in an online and an offline in two different sections, and then make sure that they're married in any way that you can get them. I have a graph which I'll send over to you too, which is, I call it the 8 pillars of real estate marketing, and a lot of it is broken out into different focal points, and you don't have to do all of them, but they are different places that you can focus on and say, is this right for my marketing strategy? Yes, I'm going to add it in this year. Or no, I really don't want to blog once a week or every day, so I'm going to do this instead. Or, maybe I don't have a lot of marketing dollars to do Facebook ads, so I'm going to do this and this and this to help me reach my goal. So there are things that you should be doing, which I kind of mentioned in this interview, but there are things that you can also marry on the offline side too to make it so people call you. And it's almost like, oh, hey, Alex, I can't stop seeing you, so I'm ready to sell my house in this city. Could you come over and take a look? That's the kind of phone calls you want. You want people to reach out to you where it's warm leads instead of those 100 leads in my inbox every day, making phone calls from 8 to 10 or whatever in the morning. I had to time block. I used to do that. I used to call expireds. I used to call FSBOs, and it worked, but it's a lot of work, and I'd rather get a phone call saying, hey, come list my house than, calling 100 people, maybe getting a hold of 10, maybe converting 1. I mean, the odds are kind of better when you're marrying the whole thing together. So if you are trying to get sellers in a specific neighborhood, I would definitely look into farming or some type of print marketing where you can get, like I said, in their inbox, in their mailbox, and online somewhere.
No, I think that's awesome because, you talk about, working hard, calling the FSBOs and the expireds and the rate of return, 1 out of 100, maybe 2-3 hours phoning. But now with what you're talking about, when you look at it as a strategic marketing kind of operation, you got the offline, you got the online. So I think that's really good advice.
Yeah, and like I said, there's so many moving pieces. Don't feel like you have to do everything, and don't feel like you need to do something because somebody told you should be doing it. I get that a lot where people are like, well, somebody told me not to run this type of Facebook ad. I'm like, well, it's hard because maybe that didn't work for them, but it might work for you. So take everything you learn and just absorb it, and then look back at your blueprint and say, okay, that doesn't fit with what I'm trying to do. I'm going to put that on the back burner, make a note of it, maybe come back to it later. But stay really super laser focused on your goal And that's going to help you put together your marketing plan. And to make sure you have your website like up to date and on point is so important. And then spreading your brand awareness consistently and continually, just making sure you're everywhere all the time is super important, where it matters too. So.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, this has been very helpful. I mean, you know a lot about, the Facebook and the advertising, and so I'm really happy that you were here to be a resource. And, we'll put your information on the speaker page. If people need additional information from you, check out your website. They can do that, their choice.
Perfect.
So, okay, so here's the bonus question.
Hit me.
It's pretty easy. So, the summit is here. It's January 2016. And I want you to look back last year, 2015, and just give me a goal that you achieved, an accomplishment, something that you were really excited about, you were proud of, you kind of said, yeah, I did it. It could be personal, it could be business, whatever you did that you were really excited about.
Well, I have to go back to the agent that I was working with, that team I was working with, because it makes me so happy when you can help somebody grow their business too. So like I said, I sat down with this team, and their goals were pretty achievable: to raise their average sales price, to get more closings, to feed more leads to their agents. There was a couple other, I think I'm forgetting, but they had pretty easy goals, where that's probably what most agents want, is to get more closings and increase their commission essentially. And so we did exactly kind of what I'm showing you today, and put together a plan where we built on it. So we started with this. Okay, that's good to go. Then we're going to add in Facebook ads. That's good to go. Let's add a little bit more of this. And we just kind of built on that throughout the year. And so it's been so much fun kind of experimenting and playing with it. And to get her phone call a couple of weeks ago to say, I asked her, I was like, okay, where are you at? We're almost at the end of the year. She told me that they had already beat their goals, which is awesome. So to have, to just give somebody the tools that I'm kind of giving out today that will help them achieve their goals is just, I think, one of the biggest accomplishments. Anytime I get a phone call where somebody's like, oh, it worked, that's when I get so excited. So maybe it's not a personal thing, but it kind of is, because, my clients got what they wanted. So.
No, I think that's awesome. I mean, you helped your customer and they got what they wanted, and you're adding value, and it's a great story to tell. So I'm very happy for you.
Yeah, and it wasn't hard. I mean, she just knowing what to do from the plan like that. I mean, she could have done it by herself too. I think I was there to kind of give her some, yeah, go ahead and do that, or no, don't do that kind of advice. So yeah, it's really easy. It really, really is, as long as you have that laser focus on what you need to actually be doing. So.
Well, fantastic. Well, thanks, Alex, for being here. This is really, I'm so happy that you're a part of the summit, and you brought a lot of energy and enthusiasm and some great ideas. So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. And hopefully this helps anybody who's watching this video. So.